व्यासं ततोज मुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भवतीर्मुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we'll begin the new year with the discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Ayur harati vai pumsam udyanastam cha yannasau tasyarte yakshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. With every raising and setting of the sun, every person is coming close to death, except a person who engages his time in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So, we'll continue our Srimad Bhagavatam discussion on the Dhruva Maharaj story. We are discussing that part where Narada Muni is speaking with Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj has come to the forest on the instruction of his, after taking inspiration from the words of his mother, in order to worship Vishnu, to achieve a position greater than that of his great grandfather, that is Lord Brahma. That time Narada Muni comes to meet him. Narada Muni is trying to discourage Dhruva to worship the Supreme Lord. So 30th shloka, somebody can repeat after me. Athamatropadishtena
Athamatropadisteena
yogena varurutsasi
yogena varurustas yogena varurutsasi
yat prasadam savai pumsam
yat prasadam savai pumsam
duraradhyo mato mama.
duraradhyo mato mama. Translation. Now you have decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother, just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for any ordinary man. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Narada Muni is telling to Dhruva, he says that अथ मदुक्तात् भिन्न प्रकारेण मात्रोपदिष्टेन योगेन मात्रा उपदिष्टेन instructed by your mother whatever your mother instructed to worship the Lord. Matra upadeshtena yogena upayena yasya bhagavatah prasadam tvam avarurutsasi. So by practicing the yoga, by practicing the particular method, with the intention of getting the mercy of that Bhagavan, yasya bhagavatah prasadam tvam avarutsasi. You are desiring to avarurutsasi means avarodnum or praptum ichasi. You are desiring to attain the mercy of that Bhagavan by practicing the yoga according to the instruction of your mother. But in truth, Sadevaha, why means Nischayena. Sadevaha Nischayena Pumsam Duraradhyaha Mama Matah. My opinion is that Bhagavan whose mercy you are desiring to obtain, that Bhagavan is Duraradhyaha. It's very difficult to worship him. It's very difficult to please him. Duraradhyaha, dukkena aradhyaha, mama matah. It is my opinion. That is what Narada is telling here. So Prabhupada says here, the process of bhakti is simultaneously easy and also difficult. So the Narada Muni is testing Dhruva Maharaj to see how determined he is to prosecute devotional service. So a guru a guru should test the disciple before accepting him, before giving him diksha. A disciple can also test the guru before accepting him as the guru. One difference is that a guru, even after accepting the disciple, he can continue to test the disciple. Guru has the right. But the disciple, after accepting the guru, he cannot continue to test the guru. So, previously there was the system of Diksha was a very more personal thing actually. Previously, world was not globalized. Because of the globalization, there is a lot of influence in spirituality also. Like we are having an online class, or a guru has thousands of disciples. Most of the disciples you may not meet only because because of the effect of globalization in the industrial world, that has had its effect, that has had its impact in the spirituality also. So because of that, the personal touch is not there. Otherwise, previously it was localized. A guru would personally interact with the disciple. Disciple would personally interact with the guru. And a guru will be, he may travel. Yeah, guru may travel. A sannyasi may travel. So the personal interaction was there. Of course, in the current system, say for example in ISKCON, Prabhupada, how he has made the system is that there is a system of a person chanting certain number of 16 rounds for certain number of years before Diksha, following the principles and chanting at least a minimum of 2 years or 3 years, 4 years, whatever, before taking Diksha. Like that, the appointed committee or counselors appointed by the Guru, like the system is there. But definitely the point is that because initiation is a serious matter, it's a lifelong commitment. Therefore, a guru, before accepting a person as a disciple, he will actually test the determination of the disciple. So Narada Muni came there under the direction of the Supreme Lord, but still he is testing Dhruva Maharaj's determination. So Prabhupada says that it is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. For a sincere person, it is, Bhagavan is not Duraradhya. But for a person who is not sincere and who is not determined, the process is very difficult. So bhakti is simultaneously easy and difficult. It is easy for a person who is sincere and determined, and difficult for a person who is not sincere and determined. So, if we see regarding the sincerity, we'll discuss some examples, how Prabhupada talks about sincerity in different places. One of the place about sincerity. Sincerity is basically, it means that not having an ulterior motive. When we compare Bali Maharaj says, Aho pranamaya kritas samudyama prapanna bhaktartha vidau samakita yallokapalais tvadanugraho marair alabda purvo apasade surerpitah. Bali Maharaj says that what a wonderful effect there is in even attempting to offer respectful obeisances to the Lord. He feels that when Vamanadev entered that assembly, I merely attempted to offer obeisances to Vamanadev in my mind. But still, the causeless mercy which Vamanadev has bestowed, has shown to me, I am a fallen demon. Such mercy was never achieved even by the demigods or the leaders of the various planets. So Prabhupada says that Krishna is called as Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He takes the sincerity of a devotee's attitude, essence of a devotee's attitude. If a devotee sincerely surrenders, the Lord as a super soul in everyone's heart immediately understands that. So even though externally a devotee may not render full service, if he is internally sincere and serious, the Lord welcomes such a service nevertheless. Therefore, he is called as Bhavagrahi Janardana, because he takes the essence of a person's devotional mentality. So here is an example of Bali Maharaj where he could not externally exhibit his devotion to Vamanadev. Of course, Bali Maharaj actually, from another point of view, it is Bali Maharaj's humility, because Bali Maharaj performed the most difficult process of bhakti, that is Atma Nivedana. He gave everything in charity to Vamanadev, all his possessions, and he ultimately offered himself, including his ego. He performed the most difficult process of bhakti, but from the point of view of Bali Maharaj, he felt that I simply merely offered obeisances in the mind to Vamanadev. On the other hand, we have the example of Ramdas Viswas, who was coming along with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Ramdas Viswas, he was all the time chanting the names of Lord Ram. It's a highly learned person. He was eager to render menial service to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. But when both of them came to Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu met Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, inquired about Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, about his journey, and then he gave him a place for him to stay. He gave him a particular service to render. But although Ramdas Viswas was along with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Mahaprabhu did not even acknowledge his presence. Although Ramdas Viswas was constantly chanting the names of Lord Ram, etc., and trying to render service. Why? Because Mahaprabhu saw this Ramdas Viswas, although externally he is performing so much of devotional activities, but internally he is not sincere. Antare mumukshu ho vidya garvavan sarvachitta jnata prabhu sarvagya bhagavan. So Mahaprabhu saw that Ramdas Viswas internally is harboring, is maintaining the desire to merge into the Brahman. So internally, he doesn't have a sincere attitude because he's performing bhakti to become one with the Bhagavan. Therefore, Mahaprabhu completely ignored him. Although externally he was performing so many devotional activities. Another sincerity, another place Prabhupada says that when Narada Muni was a small child, when his mother went to milk the cow, she was bitten by a serpent and the mother died. And Prabhupada says that this is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. The mother was the only shelter of Narada Muni, but the mother was taken away by the Lord in order to put the child Narada completely at the mercy of the Lord. So we see that sincerity does not mean there will not be any problems in life, because Prabhupada says that this is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. So even if a person is sincere in his attitude, there may be difficulties, but the difficulties will be given by the Lord in order to bring that person close to Him. Another place, Prabhupada says that what is the life of a sincere devotee? How does the sincere devotee spend his life? How do we understand? Again, he speaks in the Narada Muni story. Narada says that Namanyanantasya hatatra pappatan guhyani bhadrani cha kritani cha smaran gamparyatam stushtamanaggatasprha kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsarah. So Narada says that thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such a chanting and remembering the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are all benedictory. In this way, I traveled all over the earth fully satisfied and without being proud and without being envious. The Prabhupada says that the life of a sincere devotee is explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his own example. Such a sincere devotee, after his initiation by the Guru, takes very seriously the chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may hear the glories of the Lord. That means essentially the sincere devotee, he takes seriously hearing and chanting, and he takes seriously preaching the glories of the Lord. And such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire, that is to go back to God. And they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to God. This is the life of a sincere devotee in nutshell. Once His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was going to give a Sunday feast in the temple. Like now the Sunday feast is pattern has changed. It was I think maybe 10 years back or something. 10 years or before. So, but usually Maharaj would always, before any class, he would at least prepare something and go for the class. Because he feels that he can speak extempo also, but he feels that this is the service, so I must, many people are waiting, so I must put some effort to prepare like this. So on that, before Sunday feast, he couldn't get a single moment, but continuous meeting from morning. And so many, like 1,000 devotees, more than 1,000 devotees were there. And he didn't know, he was thinking like, what to say. Then he went to the cupboard. He felt that I will take some book from the cupboard and I'll randomly take a book and I'll randomly open any page. And whatever is there in that particular page, I will actually speak that. So he just randomly took a book. It was Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Madhya Leela has many volumes. Madhya Leela, last volume. He randomly opened a page. The verse is Madhya Leela, 24th chapter. I think 173rd shloka. So this verse is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which talks about the rarity of pure devotional service. One of the 6 characteristics of devotional service is that Sudurlabha, how pure devotional service is very rare. In that regard, one shloka Rupa Goswami mentions, Sadhananugairana sangair alabhya suchiradapi harina chashvadeyeti vidasasya sudurlabha. The translation is as follows: devotional service is very difficult to attain, is very rare because of 2 reasons. Sadhananugair anasangair alabhya suchiradapi. Unless a person is attached to Krishna, he cannot attain devotional perfection even if he renders bhakti for a long time. A person may be practicing bhakti for a long time, but if he is just practicing bhakti as a ritual without putting his heart into it, then one cannot achieve Krishna. Sadhananugair anasangair, that is the key word. So one has to practice bhakti with an attachment, with a feeling. Anudinam and adarat. Adarat means with respect, with a feeling, with attachment. And this is the first reason why bhakti is very rare. The perfect devotional perfection is rare. Second reason is that Harina Chashv Adeyeti. Harina Chashv Adeyeti. That means even if a person, second reason why devotional service is rare is that Harina Chashu Adeyeti. Because Krishna does not easily deliver perfection in bhakti. Harina cha ashu adeyet. Krishna does not easily give perfection. Because when Krishna gives perfection in bhakti, he comes under the control of the devotee. He becomes subservient to the devotee. But Krishna does not easily avoid that perfection. So because of these two reasons, bhakti is very rare. Devotional perfection is very rare to attain. So in this purport, which Maharaj was reading, Prabhupada quotes that Muktim dadati karihichit. Krishna even readily gives liberation, but does not very easily give Krishna prema, which is the perfection in bhakti. And then Prabhupada says that this means that Krishna wants to see that a devotee is actually sincere and serious, and he does not have ulterior motives. If this is the case, devotional service can very easily be successful. Otherwise, it is very difficult to obtain from the Supreme Personality of God. So that means Prabhupada is saying that Krishna will give devotional perfection when he sees that the devotee is sincere, serious, and without ulterior motives. If one is sincere, serious, and without ulterior motives, then one can very easily attain Krishna. Otherwise, it is difficult. So after when Maharaj opened the shloka, after that, this sentence of Prabhupada has come so many times in Maharaj classes, because this sentence Maharaj got this purport when he didn't have any time to, when he completely depended on Krishna, just randomly opened a page and then this page came. So this is what Prabhupada is also saying in this present purport also. Why devotional service is simultaneously easy and difficult. So the sign of a sincere devotee, one of the sign of a sincere devotee is that one takes the opportunity for rendering service as a great fortune, as a gift of charity. Pariksha karite gopala kaila agyadana, pariksha kariya sheshe hailada yavana. This verse comes in Madhavendra Puri episode. To test the love of Madhavendra Puri, the Supreme Personality of Godhead ordered Madhavendra Puri to bring sandalwood from Neelachala to Vrindavan. And when Madhavendra Puri passed that examination, the Lord became merciful to him. So to bring sandalwood from Neelachala to Vrindavan, there was no transportation. He didn't have many manpower or something. He was just going personally to get sandalwood. One may think, like, how difficult. We just imagine how difficult the service is actually. The old person trying to bring sandalwood from Neelachala to Vrindavan. But Madhavendra Puri accepted that order for service as a gift of charity. Pariksha karite gopala kaila agya dana. He considered that as a gift of charity by the Lord. So this is one of the sign of sincere devotion. One takes the order for service or opportunity for service to be like a gift of charity. And another example of sincerity is that South Indian Brahmana who was trying to read Bhagavad Gita, was trying to sincerely follow the instruction of his guru, although he didn't know how to read. He was, despite being ridiculed by others, he was trying to sincerely follow the orders of the guru. And the result of that sincere devotion is that he was seeing Krishna in the pages of the Gita. and he got the embrace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu certified him that you are an authority of the Gita. Whatever you know constitutes the real essence of the Gita. So the Brahmana said that then Mahaprabhu stayed with that Brahmana, gave his association to that Brahmana every day for the 4 months. That is the result of sincere devotion. And Prabhupada is saying in this purport, if a person is not sincere and determined, then bhakti is difficult. Determination, this is also a very important thing. When we talk about determination, like once we discussed during Niti Shatakam classes about different levels of determination, I'll just mention few things. Niti Shataka talks about 3 levels of determination. Prarabhyate na kalu vigna bhayena nichaihi prarabhya vigna vighata viramanti madhyaha vignai punarapi pratihanyamana prarabdhamuttama gunana parityajanti. So the lowest level of determination is somebody who does not even start a work out of fear of the obstacles. And the medium level of determination is somebody who starts the work and then when he faces obstacles, then he stops that mission. But the highest level of determination is that person who never stops endeavoring despite facing repeated obstacles, repeated failures. These are the 3 levels of determination. When Prabhupada is saying if one is not determined, he is talking about the 3rd level of determination. And Prabhupada says in another place, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, devotees told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take an assistant. That time Mahaprabhu told that what kind of assistant he wanted. Because previously, when Kala Krishnadas came as an assistant to Mahaprabhu during the South Indian tour, Kala Krishnadas, he got attracted to the Bhattahari women. And then he went into their association and Mahaprabhu brought him back. Remembering that experience, Mahaprabhu is telling that Nutana Sangi Haibeka Snigda Yandramana Aicheya Be Paita Be Laika Jana. And I want an assistant, such a person must be a new person. Because if I take a seasoned devotee, if I take one devotee, then other devotees will feel that why Mahaprabhu took only this devotee, why not me? So Mahaprabhu is saying that better I just want a new person. And he must be having a peaceful mind. Snigdha Yandramana. If I can obtain such a man, then I will take him with me. So he's mentioning 2 things, new devotee and a peaceful mind. So here, Prabhupada says that why he's telling that peaceful in mind? Because one whose mind is not peaceful is agitated by certain drives, especially sex desire, even though he be in the company of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Such a man will become a victim of women and will fall down even in the company of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maya is so strong that unless one is determined not to fall victim, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot give protection. The Supreme Lord and his representative always want to give protection, but a person must take advantage of their personal contact. If one thinks that the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a representative is an ordinary man, he will certainly fall down. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying that I don't want a person like Kala Krishnadas. I want somebody who is determined, who had a peaceful mind, and who is not agitated by ulterior motives. So, we see determination is mentioned in many places in the Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, Krishna, when he speaks about yoga, he says that Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samyutam. Sa nischayena yoktavyo yogo anirvinna chetasa. Yogo anirvinna chetasa. This is an important word. Anirvinna chetasa means with a mind free from despondency and full of enthusiasm, one should practice this yoga. So
Which
that
was,
means
Prabhuji? Which was?
6.23. Yogo anirvinna chetasa means like sometimes a person becomes despondent. So I cannot achieve perfection. I cannot progress. So Krishna says that with mind free from such a despondency and full of enthusiasm, one must practice yoga. So in that connection, the example of the sparrow is given. Anirvinna Chetasa means, although I cannot achieve perfection in this path easily, but certainly I will follow this path. Certainly I'll follow this path. One should not be discouraged saying that, oh, only after such a long time I will attain perfection. What is the use of all this hard work? Rather, one should practice with a mind convinced. Let me attain perfection in this life or in the next life, but I will continue to practice. So in that connection, Vishwanath Chakotipat gives the example of a sparrow. Utseka udader yadvat kushagreraika binduna manaso nigrahastadvat bhavet aparikedatah. One should gradually control the mind without complaining. Although it is like taking drops of water from the ocean to dry it up with the tip of a kusha. Like the sparrow whose eggs were taken away by the ocean waves. And the sparrow that asked the ocean to return the eggs. Ocean did not return, and the sparrow started actually drying up the ocean. But Narada Muni saw that effort of the sparrow and then went and reported to Garuda. And the sparrow's determined, sincere effort of trying to dry up the ocean attracted the grace of Narada, attracted the grace of Garuda. And Garuda came and threatened the ocean, and then ocean returned the eggs. So we see that so therefore one should be convinced that the Lord will bestow his mercy on the resolute person who enthusiastically begins the path of yoga with faith in the words of the scripture. So that is why Utsaha Nischayat Dhairyat. One of the, we'll see the Dhruva Maharaj, this one, various purport this theme comes. One of the main lesson from Dhruva Maharaj's life is that Dhruva Maharaj executed the instruction of his Guru. Although he began the instruction with a material motive, but he practiced the instruction with a determination. So Dhruva Maharaj is the perfect example for dhairya. So the word dhairya means dhirasya bhavaha, the essential mood of a persevering individual. So dhairya has two meanings. One definition is given by Radha Ramana Goswami. Swa abhishta vilambepi tattat anga shaitilyat. To not become slack in executing one's required limbs of bhakti, even if there is a delay in attaining the goal. This is one meaning of dhairya. And the second meaning of dhairya is that sthira chitta unnatir yatu sa dhairyamiti katyate. In Ujjwala Neelamani, this definition is given. Dhairya is defined as the stability in one's consciousness even when there is an agitation. Kshobasya karane api kshobha anubhavo dhairyamiti. To remain undisturbed even though there may be a reason for disturbance. That is known as dhairya. So therefore, that dhairya is actually important, determination. There is a beautiful subhashita about the sun. Ratasyaikam chakram bhujaga yamita saptaturaga niralambu margash charana rahitaga sarati rapi. Every day sun travels to the border of the endless sky on an unsupported path in a single-wheeled chariot carried by 7 horses and checked by the serpents and driven by a charioteer who does not have a feet. So you can see that so many, there's only one wheel in the chariot and he travels up to the border of the endless sky on an unsupported path. The 7 horses and the reins are the serpents. The charioteer does not have the feet, but still the sun is moving in the chariot. So the action of the great people is accomplished by their inner strength and not by instruments. So oftentimes, like we always look for different facilities for performing a task. Even preachers or any, this one, many people look for facilities. Like Prabhupada hardly had any facilities, but because he had an inner strength, inner determination, therefore he was successful. So more than the facilities, the inner determination, the enthusiasm of a guru or a teacher should be more than the enthusiasm of all the students put together. I was attending one Sanskrit course. At the end of the course, there was a concluding session. The different students were expressing their thoughts. One of the point he told about the teacher was that the student said that I think the effort put by the teacher is more than the combined effort of all the students put together. It was literally true actually, because that Sanskrit course was really intense, 140 sessions, and the teacher had prepared such detailed presentation. It requires a huge effort, and then he after every session there is a question, the exercise homework will be given, and for homework then he would prepare a detailed answer sheet, and then conducting homework sessions where the students would present the answer and then teacher would correct it, and then conducting regular exam, uh, and then conducting like there is a correcting those papers, etc. Like it was literally it was true the real, but his the teacher's effort was more than the effort of all the students put together. So since it's like Prabhupada, although he didn't have any facilities, but he had, because he had inner determination, because of that he was successful. The determination attracted the mercy of Krishna. Hmm. Like that, many things we can say about determination. So we'll come back next to shloka. Munaya yasya
मुनयः पद्मविनस्य
निस्संगेनोरु जन्मभिः
निस्सङ्गे नो हेनोरुजन्मभिः
न विदुर्मृगयन्तोऽपि
न विदुर्मृगयन्तोऽपि
तीव्रयोगसमाधिना.
तीव्रयोगसमाधिना. Translation. Narad Muni continued. After trying this process for many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continually in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization.
So Narada Muni is trying to discourage Dhruva Maharaj. He's trying to canvas Dhruva Maharaj to give up that endeavor. He's giving many reasons here. Every word is important. Nissangena. Nissangena means sarvataha sangatyagena. Giving up attachment to everything. It means like with a great vairagya. Giving an attachment to all the material objects. Nissangena. Tivra yogena. By practicing the path of yoga with great intensity. Tivra yogena means nirantara pranayamadina yuktena api. By continuously practicing the pranayama and controlling the breath, continuously practicing this thing, even by practicing the intense practice of bhakti yoga, intense practice of is referring to like ashtanga yoga, any practice of yoga, even by intense practice of yoga. Samadhina, even by entering into the state of samadhi, tatrapi uru janmabir yasya. Uru janmabir means after many births, even after many births, padavim, margam mrigayantopi. For many births, a person is trying to search the Supreme Personality of God. Mrigayantopi. Munayaha. Munayaha means mananashilaha. That means those who are expert in contemplation. Manasvino api. Those who are greatly intelligent. Even such people, tam padavim api na viduhu. Even such great munis, after many births, after with the complete detachment and practicing intense yoga by attaining samadhi, even they don't attain the Supreme Lord. Tam padavim api na viduhu. So therefore, that Bhagavan is duraradhya, like it was told in the previous shloka, is very difficult to attain. It is very difficult to worship that Supreme Lord. Therefore, give up that endeavor. Next to shloka. Ato nivartatamesha
अतो निवर्तम कामेशा
nirbandhastava nishpalaha
निर्बन्धस्तव निष्फला
yatishyati bhavan kale
यतिष्यति भवान् काले
shreyasam samupasthite.
श्रेयसां समुपस्थिते. Translation. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function.
So therefore, Narada is telling that Ata hetoho, therefore for this reason, Tava yeshaha tat aradhanagraha lakshano nishpalo. Therefore, your endeavor will be fruitless, nishpala, nirbandho, hato nivartatam atra, tvaya hato na karyam ityartha. You will not be successful in this endeavor. Yataha shreyasam kale, dharma anushtana upayukte kale, vayasah praudatve samupastite sati, bhavan yatishyati yatnam karishyati. Therefore, when the appropriate time comes in the future, when you become mature in your life, when you become little old, when the appropriate time comes in your life, so at that time you put endeavor. Don't put endeavor now. So this is what Narada is saying. So generally, a thoroughly trained person takes spiritual perfection at the end of his life. So there is a brahmachari ashram, grahastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyasa ashram. The beginning, a person becomes a brahmachari and then he studies the Vedic knowledge and then he becomes a grahastha and executes the household duties. And then he becomes vanaprastha. And gradually, when a person is mature, he renounces household life and takes to sannyas and completely devotes himself to devotional service. Generally, this is the gradual path. Even there is a verse in the Raghuvamsha. It's a very beautiful shloka in the Raghuvamsha about the kings of the Raghu dynasty. It is mentioned. I'll show that shloka. Shaishave abhyasta vidyanam yavane vishayishinam vardhake munivrittinam yogenante tanutyajam. The kings of Raghu dynasty, during the age of brahmacharya ashram, they studied the Vedic knowledge properly. And during the youth, they enjoyed the sense objects by following the principles of dharma. And during the vanaprastha ashram, they practiced the austerities of a sage. And then they took sannyas and they completely surrendered to the Lord, and then they attained perfection. Like that, the verses there. So here Prabhupada says that generally this is the path. Generally, people think that in childhood one must simply engage in playing, and then youth is meant for enjoying. And then when a person becomes old, and then one may execute some process of bhakti or some Ashtanga yoga process. But Prabhupada says that, but this conclusion is not for devotees who are actually serious. The great sage Narada is instructing Dhruva Maharaj just to test him. Actually, the direct order is that from any point of life, one should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of a guru to test the disciple to see how seriously he desires to execute devotional service. So Narada Muni, we should not literally take the words of Narada Muni here, because Narada Muni is trying to test Dhruva Maharaj. The scriptures are not textual, but they are contextual. That means sometimes the certain words in the scriptures, they are filled with the feelings of a person who is speaking those words. If you literally take those words and not seeing the feelings of the person who is involved in that particular story, we might come to a wrong conclusion also. So because the same Narada instructed Prahlad Maharaj when he was in the womb of his mother. And Prahlad Maharaj, he spoke to his classmates whatever he heard from Narada Muni. And the first instruction which Prahlad Maharaj begins to his classmates is that Kaumaram Acharet Pragyo Dharman Bhagavataniha Dharman Bhagavataniha Tadap Adruvam Artadam. I get the verse comes. So Prahlad Maharaj says that one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood to practice the activities of bhakti. So he says that right from the beginning, from the Kaumar age, one must practice bhakti. This is what Prahlad Maharaj learned from Narada. So then how can Narada Muni say here, you go home and then when you grow old, that time you can practice bhakti. So therefore Prabhupada is highlighting here, Narada Muni is trying to test the determination of Dhruva Maharaj. The same Prahlad Maharaj is speaking to his classmates in detail how one should take to bhakti very soon. He says that every human being has a maximum lifespan of 100 years. But for one who cannot control his senses, half of those years are completely lost because at night he sleeps for 12 hours, being covered by ignorance. So therefore, he has only 50 years left. And out of those 50 years, in the childhood, 10 years are passed when he is completely bewildered when he does not have proper intelligence. And then in boyhood, in sporting and playing, another 10 years get passed. In this way, 20 years are wasted. And then in the old age, when a person is invalid, unable to perform even material activities, another 20 years are wasted. So in that way, he says that practically most of the lifespan is wasted for a person who cannot control his senses. So therefore, one must begin practicing bhakti right from the young age, he says. This is what Prahlad Maharaj learned from Narada Muni. So therefore, here Narada Muni is trying to test Dhruva Maharaj. So Prabhupada says that. So then, next two shlokas we'll take up next week. In this way, Narada Muni is trying to discourage Dhruva Maharaj. And then there are two more shlokas. Then after that, how Dhruva Maharaj replies to Narada Muni, we will see that in the next week. Anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji, regarding this determination, apart from that 18th chapter, you also mentioned 4.23, that determination, Anirvacha
6.23.
6.2. Yeah,
Yeah.
because this Chetasa word even comes in 4.23, no? That some.
Yeah, the word Chetasa may come in different places.
Yeah. And you also mentioned two reasons. One is that devotional service is rare because Sri Krishna, he becomes subordinate to his devotee. And what was the second one? Like you started off by
First is
saying.
that sadhananugair anasangai. Even if one may practice bhakti for a long time, for many years, but if he is practicing bhakti without attachment, then one cannot attain perfection. Anasangai means without attachment. One is practicing bhakti just for the sake of it as a ritual, without putting one's heart into it. So because of that, one cannot attain perfection. This is the first reason. Second reason is that even if a person performs bhakti with attachment, Krishna does not give it easily. It's something awarded by Krishna. Krishna does not give it quickly. Second reason.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare.
Prabhuji, regarding that determination, so I remembered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling to, I think, Mukund Datta, that you will attain me after 10 million births. So there it is the example of all the three, no? Utsahan, Dhairya, and Nishya. Because the goal is delayed for so long time. So one has to be enthusiasm and patience also. That even if not in, because sometimes people think that, I think that sometimes I feel very, become very anxious. What will happen if I don't achieve in this lifetime? But when we calmly think that what we are going to achieve is very great. So even if it takes 4 to 5 births also, then also we should be not giving up that practice. I remember that. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Mukund Datta's example is a very appropriate example. Thank you. Okay. Shall we end here? No more questions? Okay. Stop here. नंतर श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.